Ok, sigamos con la revisión de este video un rato más, que me encanta. Son muy buenos. Aniki, Aniki-san, tremendo. Vale.
But now for something much gentler. On June the 1st, Asahi Terebi debuted a humble little program called Angol,
Yes.
Sekai no Shasou Kara, or See the World by Train. It was a simple little concept. 5 minutes per episode, Monday to Friday, experiencing the world through the train window. One region at a time, without any rush, no spectacle, just vibes and trains. That simple yet genius idea came from production.
Excelente. ¿Eh? De hecho, hay varios programas que todavía están así. De hecho, estuve en Alemania el año pasado y todas las mañanas ponían como escenas rurales, mientras daban también el pronóstico del tiempo. Lo ponían y claro, y uno podría ver en realidad distintas partes de Alemania, que no son las típicas. Y parece que esto vale la misma idea y se parece súper interesante para la gente que quiere conocer un poquito más cosas que en general nunca uno puede ir. Eso.
Producer Okabe Kenji, who wanted the Japanese to have something purely enjoyable to watch on television every single day. Then he realized that the world's railway networks totaled around 1.2 million kilometers, more than enough material for daily television. And so he pitched his concept, started See the World by Train, giving his directors nothing more than a few simple pointers. No location scouting, travel by train, film the scenery from the train window, and, above all, enjoy the journey. The show became a classic. Still airing today with the same narrator since episode 1 no less, it passed 10,000 episodes in 2014, covering 104 different countries and traveling around 750,000 kilometers, roughly the equivalent of circling the entire Earth 19 times.
Yo quiero verlo. ¿Habrán venido a Chile? No sé.
At this pace, they might eventually run out of tracks, but until then, it perfectly explains why Japan loves trains so much. But that deep-rooted love for trains, and honestly anything that requires electricity, had to be briefly put on hold on July 3rd, 1987, when Tokyo and its surrounding regions were hit by a massive blackout. At the time, Tokyo was in the middle of a heat wave. Not exactly unusual, because Tokyo's summers are famously brutal, but on that day, the heat pushed electricity demands over the edge. Fans, air conditioners, everything running at once. The power grid simply couldn't take it anymore. Overworked power grid, burned out, I can relate. The result, around 2.8 million households lost power across northern and southern Tokyo, southern Saitama, western Kanagawa, eastern Shizuoka, southern Yamanashi, and northern Chiba. The one small mercy, this all happened at 1:19 p.m., not in the dead of night. Still, it was kind of chaotic. People were stuck in elevators, traffic lights went dark.
Bueno, el año pasado o este año, principio de año, hubo un apagón total acá en Chile, Santiago, y creo que fue varias regiones, y también fue por varias horas, y fue muy caótico. Bueno, y hubo uno en España, a mitad de año, también, o en otra parte que no me acuerdo, yo creo que en España fue. Y bueno, típico. No es tan típico, pero igual, al parecer son cosas que pasan por falta de mantención o distintos aspectos. En Chile fue un dispositivo automático que se activó cuando no debía haberse activado. Y bueno, eso tiene que ver con problemas en los procesos de análisis y de contención de fallas.
Trains were delayed or suspended, and somewhere out there, more than a few Famicom sessions were tragically interrupted before passwords could be written down. Catastrophic? Maybe not. Mildly infuriating? Absolutely. Power was restored at Tokyo within 20 minutes, though some surrounding areas waited nearly 2 hours. Thankfully, no injuries were reported, and measures were quickly put in place to prevent something like this from happening again. And here's a fun fact. Earlier that same year, a movie titled Tokyo Blackout had been released. Foreshadowing much?
Quizá era parte de la campaña de marketing.
음,8というか、末広がりの8。そうだね、8個。
Una película de Hachiko antes de la que conociéramos todos con Richard Gere. Bueno, la verdad, una de las cosas que me ha faltado es conocer un poquito más del cine japonés. Lamentablemente no he tenido la experiencia. Aparte de los clásicos más clásicos, obviamente.
August 7th then marked the end of an era in post-war Japanese politics, with the death of Kishi Nobusuke at the age of 90. Kishi, grandfather of future Prime Minister Abe Shinzo, by the way, was one of the most powerful figures of Japan's immediate post-war period, and also one of its more controversial. After World War II, he was imprisoned at Sugamo as a suspected Class A war criminal. He was then released in 1952, elected to the National Diet just a year later, and soon helped establish the Liberal Democratic Party that would dominate Japanese politics for decades. As for his own time as Prime Minister of Japan in the late 1950s, pretty turbulent. It was his mishandling of the revised US-Japan Security Treaty which sparked the Anpo protests, the largest mass protests in modern Japanese history, which also ultimately forced his early resignation in July of 1960. Oh, and he had some ties to the Yakuza as well, and survived an assassination attempt one day before resigning. Yeah, post-war Japan was pretty intense. In 1987, Kishi was one...
Ese canal que está ahí, British Pate, tiene realmente muchos. De hecho, lo pueden encontrar acá en YouTube. Tiene muchos documentos históricos. De hecho, tiene unas grabaciones japonesas del año 1920, 1917. Es increíble. Obviamente sin sonido, pero increíble. Bueno, y aparte, estaban, parece, metidos en todas partes del mundo porque hay grabaciones antiguas de todas partes. Y algunas muy interesantes.
One of the last living symbols of that chaotic, formative era, for better or for worse, and whose influence helped shape Japan's political and economic trajectory. And with his death, it truly felt like the old guard was finally passing from the scene.
Hoy día mi internet está súper buena. Yo creo que lo voy a dejar hasta acá este capítulo. Voy a ver qué pasa con mi internet. Y hacemos otro capítulo mañana.